more football tonight, Joe. Love to see it on a Friday. You interested at all? The Battle of Illinois, Western Illinois and Illinois, a 45.5-point spread with a 63.5 total. What's this score looking like at the half? I doubt it's 3-0 like the Wisconsin game yesterday. Oof.
Yeah, well, it gets in because Western Illinois is one of these up-tempo teams, Donnie, so they could be 3 and out rather quickly. Illinois could have a whole lot of opportunities to run away with this game and run away big time. Listen, if you're going to lay crazy numbers, do it early in the season. This is the time that you're going to want to do it because this is your best chance of teams actually going ahead and getting it done. I don't think Western Illinois I don't think that game's going to be all that competitive. Although Rutgers didn't think Ohio was going to be all that competitive either yesterday.
How about that? Parker Navarro and the boys maybe send some shockwaves through the MAC this year. MAC always a fun team, always a fun, certainly, conference to watch it play out. But when we get to some of the big boys tonight, 8 p.m. start tonight, Auburn, the Tigers, on the road to take on the Baylor Bears. This line opened up as a 2.5-point favorite here towards Auburn. You still see it sitting at 2.5. Some other outlets have moved to 2s and 1.5s, depending where you're shopping at. But a total that's also increasing, by the way, 56.5 at the opening number. We're now seeing 58.5, Joe. Two big-time schools getting after it week number 1.
Yeah, no, I'd say you got to love that too. You know, out-of-conference teams, and we have seen this, Donnie, a lot, and we've seen opportunities to jump on those home dogs at a conference here. I mean, listen, Hugh Freeze not exactly working out all that well there in Auburn. Careful what you wish for. Dave Aranda was almost fired last year at Baylor until he ripped off a whole lot of wins there to end the season. So you got to like Baylor's chances of coming out at home, playing some defense against an SEC team. I think it's going to be great, but the Auburn Tigers are not what the Auburn Tigers used to be.
I got to tell you, the game of the night for me is going to be that Colorado-Georgia Tech game, Joe. There's a lot of intrigue here. No more Shedeur Sanders here. Caden Salter's going to take over. What's Deion's new-look football team? But also, Georgia Tech with the Haynes and Haynes in the backfield. I'm telling you last night, I loved a running quarterback there in USF to get in, and Brown scored a touchdown. Haynes King, he's going to score a touchdown on the ground himself at the quarterback position. 51.5 to 52s as the number in this game. Georgia Tech is a favorite, Joe, right around a 4.5-point spread at just about every outlet here. What are we seeing tonight? But when I see quarterback running it in for Georgia Tech, touchdown, put it on the board.
Listen, do not underestimate Colorado in Colorado. I know the overwhelming thought is Colorado's going to take a step back and Georgia Tech somehow is going to take this big step forward. But in the altitude, game 1, Colorado against a Deion coach team is always dangerous.
You ain't seen nothing on Friday night. Wait till you see this weekend's card that we preview next right here on the early line. SportsGrid Network, the place to be during college football season, pro football season, heck, any season right now. As we roll along, it's Donnie Rightside, it's Joe Raineri. We've been waiting for a game like this. By the way, do you know what song I'm singing right there as a parody, Joe? Come on. Come into your life. There we go. See that? No, we're connecting, Joe, because we got a monster game on Saturday. It kicks off at noon. We don't have to wait any longer. It's Ohio State and it's Texas. And just to take a look at the game board in this, opened up around that 2.5 spread over the summer. We're now seeing 1.5s and down to 1s. The money coming in on Texas. Will Texas wind up being the favorite by the time we get to kickoff tomorrow? We'll find out. But, Joe, there are some interesting statistics that we take a look at here, which were tweeted out by Fox. How will Julian Sayin perform against the number 1 ranked Longhorns? Did you know, Joe Raineri, 0-16 quarterback starting debuts versus number 1 opponents since 2010. Oh, boy, that ain't a good look, Joe.
No, it's not. But how many of those 0-16 quarterbacks played their game at the shoe and had Jeremiah Smith as a wide receiver to catch the ball? No. So that's a nice number, but that means absolutely nothing here at this point. Listen, I think this is a toss-up game between these two teams. Yes, there's a lot of question marks at Ohio State, but is there really, are we really going to be shocked if Ohio State at home with Julian Sayin and Jeremiah Smith and all the other new faces there, we're really going to be shocked that they actually win this game at home? Because I would not be in any way, shape, or form. I think this is going to be a great game. I don't think either of these two teams, whatever we get tomorrow, Donnie, these will not be the same teams in October. So
True.
keep that in mind. Both these teams will likely get better as the season progresses, which is why I don't think either of these teams are going for broke in this game, in game one. I like the under in this game a lot because you've got two quarterback first road start for Manning. You just mentioned it, Julian saying this is his first start period in college here, but they both have a ton of experienced weapons. But I don't think either coach is going to allow the quarterbacks to bury them here. I would expect more. We're going to bully you. We're going to run the ball down your throat. The defenses are going to step up. I think the under is a much better play than trying to figure out which one of these teams, coin flip wise, is going to win this game.
Always so talented, always so great with recruiting. You look at the roster talent comparison, 14 5-stars to Texas, 11 there to Ohio State, 4-star players. Ohio State has 56 4-star players on the roster. Like, if you're not up on recruiting data and how that works out, like, getting a 4-star is a really big deal for a university. They have 56 of them on the roster. So as Joe points out, yes, you're a quarterback. You will be under pressure. You're at home. That makes some sense. You're going against a really good team. I get it. But when everybody you hand off to or throw to are 4- and 5-star athletes, they do a lot of the work for you. How good do you actually have to be? But Joe is also right about this. This is game number one. And with the advent of, obviously, the expanded playoff, it used to be whoever lost this game, you're probably not going to get into the playoff picture, which is crazy. The loser of this game, they might be a buy-on team because that team will learn from this unless, Joe, right? Ohio State 36-7 over Texas, then whoa. Like, what's the deal here? But if you're looking at a game anticipated from the odds makers, Joe, to be roughly a field goal or less, we're expecting a close game. The loser of this, still going to make the playoffs for me. The winner of this just has a leg up and has that beauty pageant win to open the season.
Absolutely, here. And I think the goal of both of these coaches is to take these young quarterbacks here. And yes, while Manning has played some snaps here at Texas, he's never started a game, gone into the shoe, and expected to beat a top 5 team and the defending champion, Ohio State Buckeyes. So I think both coaches, Sarkisian and Ryan Day, are not going to ask these guys, or mistakes by young quarterbacks always kill teams here. So I think they are going to avoid just airing it out, letting these guys do their thing, because both defenses are capable of turning this game upside down. So I would expect maybe a little more conservative look early in the season from both these offenses.
12 o'clock, Joe, ready to roll. And by the way, you know who's going to be on from 10 to 12 tomorrow morning, setting the table for your college football day? It's me and Joe Lisi on SportsGrid, College Football Today. Don't you miss out. We'll take you right up to kickoff tomorrow. But also, other kickoffs this weekend, Joe, that you got to get involved with, which includes a Saturday night tussle from Death Valley. One team traveling from Death Valley to play in another Death Valley. It's LSU and it's Clemson. This line opened up at 3.5, Joe. FanDuel sits at 3.5. Everybody else has moved to 4 as a favorite towards the Clemson Tigers. 57.5 is the total across the board. We're getting under the lights, a top 10 battle to start the season. You gotta love that.
Listen, I think LSU going to have a good season with Brian Kelly. The schedule is absolutely brutal for LSU, by the way, especially they've got to go into the other Death Valley now and take on a Clemson team with 4 new starters on the offensive line, LSU, against a absolutely rebuilt and monstrous front for Clemson. And Clemson's biggest issue last year with Dabo was the defensive side of the ball, especially not being able to stop the run. They addressed that for the first time. Dabo, who was always big about not going into the portal, you know, we mold our guys, we bring them along. He went into the portal, guys, and he rebuilt that defense. This looks a lot like the Clemson championship teams. Stud quarterback, Heisman hopeful, everyone's favorite, running game, returning wide receivers, offensive line returns. This is a tough spot for LSU. Not to mention Nussmeier has missed some practices because there is word that there might be a knee issue. 4 new offensive linemen and a quarterback that might be hobbled a little bit. Yeah, I'll take Clemson all day to start the season off.
We get Brian Kelly smashing his hammered hand down, boom, at the press conference post-game. We gave it up tonight. I'm so mad at my football team. They haven't been off the good starts here. They need to get a win, but a tough place to play at Clemson. And we're always better. Like when Clemson is good and Dabo's getting angry, that's fun. When callers are calling into Dabo's radio show and yelling at him, that's fun. We got to get Clemson back on that top line here, get them in the playoffs, and start wreaking some havoc here once again. But how about this game on Sunday night? I believe Joe Raineri is going to be in the building, Hard Rock Stadium. The Catholics and the Convicts, Notre Dame and Miami, the new edition, minus 2.5-point favorite for Notre Dame on the road in a total that sits at 49.5. Boy, center stage, standalone game, Sunday night, Labor Day weekend. We're all going to be watching, and Joe's going to be in the building.
I mean, listen, this is, again, a lot of unknowns here. New quarterback for both teams here, right? CJ Carr, redshirt freshman, but he's been in the system. He is a dual threat quarterback. Carson Beck at 30 years old. Yeah, good luck here. Coaching edge to Notre Dame in a big, big way here because Mario Cristobal, for all the hype around him, Donnie, the guy is one of the worst in-game coaches there is. He figures out ways to put his team in a position to lose games. That is not going to happen on the Notre Dame side here. I like Notre Dame, proven commodity, been there. They restocked better than anybody. I expect Notre Dame. I think it's going to be close, but I expect the better coach to win this game, and that's on the Notre Dame sideline.
Let me slide down here. Let's go to some passing props here. Carson Beck over 239.5 in that game, Joe. Check. Passing touchdowns. Carson Beck over 1.5. Check. CJ Carr 186 under. CJ Carr over 1.5 touchdown passes under. That's where we're going on this game. It's all about Miami. Look at my background right there. Can I get the right hand here? No, it's this hand right here. Look who's back there.
There you go.
That's the Ibis.
Yep,
That's the Ibis right there back there, hugging the fanatic. Like we're Miami fans in this house. Look at the Miami book on the bottom line down there. Kane Mutiny and also a Miami book right next to it, Joe. We're Miami'd up. You need to be on board. You can't be in South Florida rooting for Notre Dame and betting Notre Dame. It's not allowed. It's not allowed.
Yeah, I know it's disgusting, but I refuse, Donnie, in this household to lose one more dollar banking on Mario Cristobal putting his team in a position to win against another good team. Not happening.
It's college football. It's week number 1. The appetizer last week, week 0. How does it play into week number 1? Well, the one thing we do know is a lot of these football teams we haven't seen play just yet, and that's going to account for some of these odds on the move, as we like to say. And we've already seen a lot of big odds moves. How about yesterday? Akron plus 9.5 versus Wyoming got bet down to 5.5. Didn't matter. Double-digit win here in a shutout for Wyoming on the road. FAU at Maryland plus 17.5. Now that's down to 14.5. Clemson -3 up to -4, and TCU, which we're going to get to in just a few moments, from a -1.5 to a 3.5, depending on what you're looking at here. Lines will be on the move a lot during the season, but no greater probably, Joe, than week number 1, where we just don't have an opinion on how these teams are going to actually work out on the field.
Yeah, I mean, tread lightly here. It's, we still don't know. And if we don't know, guess what? The books don't know. So what we've seen already in just the handful of games in week 0 and so far last night in week 1 is that the books we're getting some inflated numbers with home favorites for sure in spots. So that will continue through the first week, Donnie, simply because take the TCU North Carolina game. There's 70 new players on the field for North Carolina. How in the world is anybody going to know, including TCU and the sports books, what we're getting from North Carolina in game 1?
By the way, just an odd timeline, too, for Carolina and also Bill Belichick. Like, once thought to be the brightest mind in the history of the National Football League, bounced unceremoniously. I got fired. No, I didn't. We have a mutual agreement. No, it wasn't. Like, we're never going to get the story. And then it just seemed like Robert Kraft picked up the phone and goes, we're all owners here. I'm going to ask you a favor. Don't you dare hire this guy. He cannot coach another NFL game. And he went from the hottest coaching commodity in the NFL where anybody would be happy to, barely getting interviews in the NFL and nobody wanted to. And then instead of lining up saying, well, I can just pick whatever college institution I want to go to, ends up in North Carolina. And here we are for opening night on Monday Night Football. And I love the fact that college football put this game on a standalone on Monday, on Labor Day, because we will watch. We want to see what happens. We want to see if his girlfriend is on the sideline with the headset on, coaching the defense or the defensive backs, or just making sure that the Gatorade is all squared away and clear on the sideline. But make no mistake about it. North Carolina are underdogs in this game against TCU at a -3.5. What are the expectations for you, Joe, for Bill Belichick and his first game on Chapel Hill?
Well, he's got a very favorable schedule coming his way. And if it's one thing, and I'll just base everything off the fact that if I'm Belichick, I have no interest in taking a job in college for the first time because I'm planning on losing a lot. The schedule here, a lot of this is going to be about one sideline is going to have way more experience and better coaching than the other sideline. So I do think he's going to win more games than people think. The question is, with 70 new players on the team here, what are we going to get? Two left-handed quarterbacks. They changed the surface, by the way, in the stadium. Remember, they used to have the turf there. He has grass installed now. And why is that? Something tells me UNC is going to shorten games. There's going to be a lot of power running with North Carolina this season and no air raid situation. There's no Drake May throwing for 4,000 yards. That I don't think is going to happen with North Carolina this year. Yeah, no.
Yep. And by the way, I'll tell you what's interesting, too, is like TCU keeps getting caught up in these coaching hires for the opposite side. Like, hey, TCU opening game. Well, we got Dion. Good luck. That didn't work out too well at this point. Now TCU's like, wait, we got to go on the road here, and now we're going to play North Carolina, and it's Bill Belichick. We'll see how it turns out, but they are the favorites in that game. We'll see how it plays out, but an exciting weekend overall in college football, no doubt about it. By the way, I just want to bring up this topic. NFL before we get to hour number 2. Not about the games itself. Did you catch a whiff, Joe Raineri, of these rivalry uniforms that the NFL was putting out? Had you seen any of those on Twitter or X?
Yeah, I have in fact, and I had a friend of mine send me a version of what the Jets one looks like, and it basically looks like it's just like holes, and it's just absolutely a train wreck. But yes, once again, the NFL trying to create it's all sales because Donnie, how many guys are going to run out and go buy these jerseys? How many guys you think?
I mean, it's like you have home, away, your alternate throwback. Is that not good enough for 17 weeks? Like LeBron James ruined the NBA when the Cleveland Cavaliers started wearing every color under the sun. And now it's to the point where you tune into an NBA game, you don't even know who's playing until the announcer actually says, oh, that's Atlanta. Didn't know that they were turquoise tonight. Hey, that's the Sixers. Didn't know they were pink tonight. How about that? Away we go in the hour number 2, the 7 at 7, the hottest topics and much more. It's Joe and Donnie in the morning. We'll be right back. It's a Football Friday right here on the early line on the SportsGrid Network. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Joe Raineri, and we got to bring in the man, the myth, the legend. It's Coach Terry Bowden. You can see him all over the networks here with the Bowden Blitz with Joe Lisi, and also comes on the show College Football Today with us each and every Saturday. Coach, how do you feel today? We're ready for week number 1.
Man, I'm on location, Tallahassee, Florida, and the Crimson Tide coming to afternoon. So a lot of excitement down here in Tallahassee.
Looking good, Coach. We're ready to go and have some fun. But correct me if I'm wrong. You were a coach of the Auburn Tigers. Those Tigers got a big-time game against the Baylor Bears. Let me ask you this question. You've been in a lot of big-time environments. Early in the season, taking your ball club on the road to a hostile environment, how do you get those guys ready? And what do we see from Auburn and Baylor?
Well, when you got a critical game like Auburn's got, they've been losing seasons. Hugh Freeze is on the bubble right now. And this has been a big game to this staff all year. I don't think you have any trouble getting your team up for a team like Baylor, who are picked to be one of the top teams in the conference, had a great finish last year. It's easier than playing a bad team and playing down to them. So it's a tough assignment, but I've got a new great restart for Jackson Arnold out there. And because of him and his restart and a little bit better talent, I've got Auburn pulling it out.
Like an Auburn there. All right, I guess when you say Death Valley, it doesn't really make a difference for both these teams since they both play at it. But Clemson and LSU getting ready to go. That's a lot of new offensive linemen for LSU there to go on the road against that front against Clemson. The money's on Clemson. What are you thinking?
Well, you know what? When it went 4 points, I got to go back to LSU and the points, although I do think Clemson will win because home field advantage, their Death Valley, their Cade Klubnik versus Garrett Nussmeier, their new defensive coordinator. They're both very evenly matched, but I got to think that the difference is going to go to Clemson to win the game. But 4 points, I'm going with LSU because it will be a tight ball game with two very evenly matched teams.
Coach, let me ask you a question here with LSU. We've known
Yeah.
their struggles opening games, but they're no stranger. Like, they'll take on the best anywhere, any shape, anytime.
Right.
How do you feel about him coming into the game, talking about Brian Kelly and the pressure that's building on him, where you're supposed to win at LSU national championships, and it's hard to get excited for the season when you keep getting tripped up in week number 1?
Yeah, I live in Louisiana, and these are Cajuns. These are LSU fans here, and they're not happy. They will put a lot of weight on this game, more than even Brian Kelly wants, because both teams can lose this game and still make the college football playoffs. So it's not one of those games that'll end it. But for Brian Kelly, he needs to start out strong because the Boo Birds are out there, and they're wanting to see immediate results. And, again, they didn't pay him and bring him in not to win the conference or not to go to the college football playoffs. So this is a big game, maybe not necessarily for the SEC champ, but for a chance to go to the playoffs and how good you're going to be. Still, I think they're going to cover with the 4 points, but I've got to take Clemson in their Death Valley with their quarterback. But Brian Kelly is on a bit of a hot seat.
Yes, he is an LSU. They won't tolerate it. Isn't it funny, though, Coach, just a year ago, another loss to Michigan, and Ohio State fans are like, Ryan Day's got to go. He's got to go. Well, now he wins a national championship, and now all is well, except he welcomes Texas in. I don't think this is going to make or break either team, but what kind of game are we getting at the Shoe here?
To me, this is a classic. I'm so glad they're opening up this way because now you've got the classic game, two teams with probably the top NFL talent in the country. And I'm still going to give that nod to Ohio State still. Quarterbacks are both new, but Arch, not only he's more publicized, but he's got a little bit of experience, and you have to give the quarterback nod to them. But I've played in the Shoe. That's a tough place to play. And it all comes down to Ohio State, a little better talent. They're playing in the Shoe. That's just enough to hang on with that lead, that spread.
Coach, let me ask you a question with this, too. Let me put you in the room for the losing team between Texas and Ohio State. Let's just say it's a close, hard-fought loss, 27-24. What are you telling your team moving forward, knowing of how much anticipation in game number 1 there was, but there's still such a long season left to go, and you can still rebound with the extra playoff spots?
You just got to read the paper. Sarkisian, head coach of Texas, is already putting it out. It's not all about this game. It's not all one game. It comes to after this game. And so both coaches know they want to win this game, but have to have a plan B. Because when a game is this evenly matched about the two top teams in the country, top 2 or 3 teams in the country, the loss could come. It's all about what you do after loss. Most national years, there's a loss somewhere in there. It's how you adapt or adjust to that loss, not that you don't have a loss.
Coach, no team and no program is going to be more watched this year than North Carolina. The problem is they got 70 new players there and Bill Belichick and his staff. If you're Sonny Dykes, how are you even prepping for this? Do you have any idea what you're going to be getting?
You know, well, Sonny Dykes is not his first rodeo, and he comes from pretty good bloodlines, too. He knows what he's doing. But North Carolina, you know, you got a new coaching staff, new athletes, new systems. You really don't know what you got, but you do know one thing. If anybody knows how to get a team ready for a season, it's Bill Belichick. And that'll be there. But I don't think that'll be enough. I just don't think you can have enough. Too many things they've got to change. And I still wonder, having been a coach for a long time and knowing coaches that have played coach NFL, how motivated, what's his motivation? And hired a couple of sons. I'm not saying that, but sometimes is a reason. Or does he want to take North Carolina to a new level? It's always, a younger coach going from NFL is one thing. I just kind of, his motivation is there to build a championship caliber. He heck knows how to do it.
A couple moments left here in the segment for you, Coach. You're down in Tallahassee. Yeah. Tell us what you're doing this weekend in Tallahassee.
Well, actually my mother's 93rd birthday, and we got the entire Bowden clan.
All right.
Almost 50 of us. Thank you. Almost 50 of us will be there, but we will all be watching that football game because Florida State with a transfer quarterback, Tommy Candelaris, plus Gus Meyer, the opposite quarterback. Can they mesh enough? They will. They'll keep it close, but Alabama will pull away in the second half by 14.
You heard Coach Bowden tell it there in Tallahassee, the place to be on Saturday. Alabama comes to town. Well, Coach Bowden, thanks once again for joining us this week. We'll see you all throughout college football season. Each Coach Bowden. Catch him also on the Bowden Blitz with Joe Lisi on the Sports Grid Network. Thanks, Coach. Good luck tomorrow. We'll continue with the early line next.
See y'all, man.
Coming at you, Joe Raineri. Yesterday, you went to college football. Are you returning back to college football today? Tell the people.
I am absolutely returning back to college football, and I am absolutely looking at another dog here tonight. An interesting game in week one. It's a game that features two teams we actually already had a chance to see, Donnie, and we've got some data on here in week 0, and that's UNLV at Sam Houston. And anybody that watched Dan Mullen's opening game as the UNLV new coach, yeah, how impressed were you that FCS Idaho State threw for 555 yards there, and they almost lost the game. In the process, maybe one of the worst tackling teams I've ever seen. They whiffed on 17 tackles in that game there. And on the flip side, the Bearcats took on Western Kentucky, who we all know, up-tempo, loves to throw the ball. But they actually outgained Western Kentucky, averaging a little over 6.5 yards per play. This kid, Hunter Watson, and this running back, McCaskill, these are game changers here. Not to mention Phil Longo, the new head coach, is a air raid guy here, taking over on this program at Sam Houston. They went 2 for 17 on third down, and they turned the ball over in the red zone. It's the only reason they didn't cover that game against Western Kentucky. But I have no doubt with this defense of UNLV that Sam Houston at home will be able to keep this within a single score, if not win this game outright on Friday night.